Somebody wants to buy their first rental property in 2024. Is that even possible?
But it's always possible.
I know you own, what, 180 rental properties? How much money do you make from these rental properties?
Well, I mean, gross rents, probably $180,000, $190,000 a month.
Damn! Yeah. Michael Zuber, how's it going, baby?
Good, man. How are you? The second time's a charm.
Second time's a charm. First time, I don't know what happened, but I want to get straight to it. I want people to learn how to buy rental properties. I own 17, 18 rental properties. I become a multi-millionaire because I bought rental properties. I think that it's still possible to buy rental properties in 2024. And I know you own, what, 180 rental properties?
Yeah, 175, 176, something like that.
176 rental properties. How much money do you make from these rental properties?
Top line, bottom line, what are we talking about?
Like both.
Well, I mean, gross rents, probably $180,000, $190,000 a month.
Damn!
Yeah, net, depending on how, the numbers and capital investments, let's just say plenty.
Okay, all right, enough that you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, plenty. Yeah.
Okay, so let's say somebody wants to buy their first rental property in 2024. Is that even possible with interest rates and high purchase prices?
So the first thing I want the audience to know is I've been buying since 2002. So I've been doing this a long time. And the reason that's important is I was buying before the last crash.
Okay.
So I've been here before. I know where we are, right? So it goes up, it goes down. Real estate's definitely a cycle. But it's always possible. And it's always hard. I don't think a lot of people understand that buying rental properties, that cash flow and produce positive cash flow, not just, oh, I'm betting on appreciation and I can afford negative cash flow, which I call an alligator. That's nonsense.
Yeah.
You've got to do the work. You got to find the deals, and it's hard. I would argue it's really hard today, but it's always possible.
Okay.
Right.
But is it possible in places like Las Vegas, California,
Absolutely.
Arizona, not just Ohio or these cheap markets? Like, is it possible in expensive markets?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, again, let's remember, right, it's for folks that don't know my story, I live in the Silicon Valley.
Okay.
Right. Even in 2002, the Silicon Valley did not cash flow. And I spent a year looking.
Yeah.
Right. So at that point, you have a choice. Right. A lot of people go out of state. What I decided to do is, you know what? California is a big place. What is close to me?
Yeah.
Now, close to me turned out to be 2.5 hours away, but I can get cash flow in California 2.5 hours away. It was Fresno County.
Got it.
Right? So you have to sometimes seek it, right? If you live in Beverly Hills, sorry, Beverly Hills is not going to cash flow. But you know what's to the east of you? The Inland Empire.
Yeah.
Right? IE, baby.
Yeah.
Get off your butt and
go to San Bernardino.
Yeah, go seek it out.
Shot.
Come on.
Potentially. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. My rentals are in San Bernardino. I love San Bernardino.
But that's the key is a lot of people that get stuck on, hey, I live in Manhattan or Miami or Austin or in Seattle.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Get in your car, go a little bit east, go a little bit west, go north, go south. There are markets that cash flow.
Yeah, got it. So what do you think as far as if someone's starting off today in 2024?
Yeah.
Let's just break it down from beginning to end.
I like it.
How do they buy a rental property?
Well, the first thing you got to do is make sure you're ready, right? Okay. You've got to have, your credit's got to be right because you want to get the best rates. You don't want to go to some hard money or a private money lender at 12% or something.
What credit should they have?
Well, you would, very likely going to make sure your debt to income is right. You're going to want to make sure your credit rating, your credit score, the higher the better. If you get to 760, you're going to get the best rates.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to have to put 25% down for most of these.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Unless, we'll get to that in a minute. There's a lot of easier ways to do it today that weren't around when I was starting, or at least weren't talked about. And then you have to have reserves. Another thing that you have to have if you're going to be a landlord is reserves. Bad shit happens. Bad stuff happens. Stuff breaks.
Yeah.
People lie to you. Evictions happen. My first rental ever, only paid 1 month's rent and almost ruined me. Right? So it does happen. So make sure you have reserves so you don't lose it. You never want to become a tired landlord or a must sell.
I know.
If you're a must sell, guys like me are going to swim around and scoop up your stuff and make the real money.
Yeah.
But if you have those things right, it can be done.
Okay, so minimum credit score you'll say is 620 minimum?
I would, for a rental property, not owner occupied, you're probably more like 680.
680. Okay, so if you're listening to this, try to get a 680. And then debt to income ratio. So that pretty much means how much you make subtracted by how much debt you have in monthly recurring bills.
Correct.
And then from there, you could figure out what mortgage you can afford.
Correct. Yeah, and
Yeah.
working with a mortgage broker to do it. Rental properties are interesting because they will take the income of the asset,
Yeah.
right? And it'll help shield some of that, but you're not going to want to be overextended. These are real loans getting done.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that people don't realize today versus, when I started, the loans weren't really underwritten very well.
Yeah.
Right? The bankruptcy reform laws and a lot of, Dodd-Frank, the loans getting done today are real. So they're going to investigate you.
Got it.
Right.
But do you think, so what I did, so I bought my first property as owner occupied,
Bingo.
and then I ended up putting, I don't remember, like 5%
You
down.
get as low as
still
3.5. You
unconventional.
could do 0 as a VA.
And then I rented it out like 3 months later. So what do you think about that strategy?
I think there are so many ways to get started. I fully vet, for most people, I would almost say all people, your first purchase is not your forever home.
Yeah, never.
So don't think of it that way.
Yeah.
A lot of first-time home buyers, it's the home, it's where we raise a family. It's not your forever home.
Yeah.
Get on the property ladder. Realize that you're going to purposely do this so it becomes a rental in 3 months, a year, 2 years, however long it takes you to save up for the next down payment, and go that way. I mean, again, I think you only need 4 rental properties, and you can change your financial future.
Really?
Absolutely. Think about it. I mean, that was my goal at 30 when I bought my first rental is, hey, if I buy 4, one a year, one every 2 years, by the time I'm 65, my retirement's going to be better than anybody else I've ever known. Because I'll have 4 free and clear assets that will have inflated away. At that time, I'll have a 401k.
Yeah.
I'd have all this other stuff.
Yeah.
That was my grand vision at 30 when I started this.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, once you get in it, you get good at it, you have other options. But I think if you have 4, I mean, just think about it. 4 Vegas homes,
Yeah.
30 years from now.
Yeah.
Come on.
Let's say there's $600K each minimum, hopefully.
Yeah. Come
Yeah.
on. Right?
So what do you think about, do you think people should quit their jobs and go all in on buying rentals, or do you think they should
No.
keep a job and buy
no.
rentals?
Personally, my opinion is I think most people, myself included, are employees. I don't have the mindset. I don't have the risk tolerance. I just don't have what you have, right? And I think most people should just be good employees,
Uh-huh.
become good at what you do, become indispensable, save some money, buy some assets, and then let inflation be your friend.
Really? Do you think that's anti-popular opinion right now?
I think social media is all a buzz of entrepreneurship. Gary Vee, Alex Hormozy, Grant Cardone, Ryan Pineda,
Yeah.
right? That whole clan pace. I mean, it is absolutely possible. What I would tell you is if you're going to be an entrepreneur, your upside is $1 billion.
Okay.
If you're going to be an employee, we're talking a couple of $1 million.
Yeah.
I mean, it's chasms. But again, and probably most people don't need to be a billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us would be very happy to have a couple $1 million and options.
Yeah.
I think certainty is in being an employee, but there are amazing folks like Ryan and Grant and Alex and all these folks we just talked about that can do it. And they probably will.
Yeah.
Not my thing. Not most people's thing.
What do you think about, let's get back to buying your first rental property. So first you got to be ready. So
Gotta be
debt
ready.
to income ratios fixed, credits, all that is in order. What's the next step?
You also got to make sure you have good money habits, right?
Okay.
Because again, owning one rental property, you've got to make sure you know your numbers. You got to make sure you have, again, the reserve set aside. You can't just, time for a new car because I deserve it.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Right.
So you think people got to save money?
You do. You got to live
Yeah.
below your means. I actually believe getting wealthy is a 3-step process and can be done in 10 years.
Okay.
Step 1, you have to increase disposable income.
Okay.
And there's only 3 ways you can do that.
Real estate?
No.
Okay.
Good guess. You can increase income,
Okay.
you can lower expenses,
Okay.
or you do both.
Okay.
I recommend doing both.
Okay. I agree.
Right. And the reason disposable income is important is because what we're talking about buying your first rental properties. You have to have stacks of money that you're peeling off every month.
Yeah.
Right. And you do that by habit in building the routine. And then step 2 is you have to become elite at something.
Yeah.
I became elite at 93703, single family homes, 3 and 4 bedrooms in my little buy box. Nobody knew it better. All this other stuff happening, didn't care.
Yeah.
That little buy box, nobody knew it better in the planet. So the first 8 homes I bought, the best deals in that little buy box. I became elite at that. And then unfortunately for most people in today's world, you got to do it for a decade.
Okay.
But if you do the hard stuff for a decade, you can do amazing things for the next 50 years.
Okay. Those are what you got to do, you think?
Yeah, I think if you get disciplined, you peel off cash, again, raise income, more cash, buy assets, assets appreciate, debt structure's right.
Yeah.
Chances of being wealthy in 10 years are astronomically high.
What do you think about people who say, like, you know, you only live once, you got to enjoy, you're not going to die with it?
56% of people can't afford a $1,000 emergency. So yeah, lots of people believe that. I choose not to be stupid.
But what if people are like, well, you know, because I see these gurus, they'll say, you know, if you want to make more money, go buy a more expensive car because then you're going to have to make more money.
Dude, I was a sales manager in enterprise software. So I was working with people, including myself at the time. My OTE was 300 and routinely we're making 7 figures if you killed it. So I operated in that space for 15 years. And I routinely, as a first and second line leader, would encourage my sales reps to upgrade their cars, to get a third car. Because a hungry sales rep gets in earlier, stays later, works on the weekends. Not what I did, but certainly, you know.
Yeah. So you think it's a trap?
Of course it's a trap.
Really?
Well, think about anybody. Just think about it. You're 28 years old.
Yeah.
You're rolling deep in, you know, whatever the car is today, but the payment's $1,500.
Yeah.
Throw on insurance, it's $2,000.
Yeah.
Your rent's, you know, I don't know, $2,500.
Yeah.
Your monthly nut after taxes is $6,000.
Yeah.
And your OTE is $3,000. The only way you make it up is commission.
Yeah.
You're going to be coming in 7 days a week, you know, hunting that.
Yeah.
That's not the way I roll.
What do you think about as far as with everything so expensive right now? Do you think it's better to wait until there's like a correction in the market and then prices go down? Or do you think people should buy houses right now?
I think you only can buy in the market you're in. I've been buying deals for every year for 20 some odd years. I bought a deal last year. I plan to buy several this year. You can't predict the market.
Yeah.
And again, I talk about the daily financial news live 5 days a week. So a lot of people are calling for the market to crash the last couple of years. I'm like, no, you idiots. Transactions are going to crash, not prices. Man, did I get a lot of hate for that.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, Michael, you don't get it. Rates are going to go up 300 basis points. Property has to crash 30%. I'm like, no, you idiots. I've studied history. I've gone back to the 1970s and 80s. The only thing that happens is transactions are going to crash 50%. Yeah. I was right. They were wrong. If you want to wait on the sidelines, go ahead. You need to do great deals today. And oh, by the way, they're hard.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, there's nothing wrong with earning 5% while you wait for the deal to come. But if you have to believe they're out there. Yeah. If you just admit defeat and you're soft little whiny bitch, I don't care. Just do your thing. Hopefully I can swear.
Yeah, we're just beeping out. I don't know. But okay, so I guess let's rewind. Like, what is your story? Like, I think some people are not going to know who you are or what happened. So let's give some context.
So again, remember, I'm a couple decades older than you. So I cut my teeth in the industry, 30 some odd years ago. And unfortunately, kind of like this era, I was involved in what everybody calls today the .com crash.
Okay.
But I was in the Silicon Valley. Like I was in the vortex of that. I turned $7,000 into $200,000.
That's good. Was it Bitcoin?
No, it was stocks. Bitcoin,
oh, okay.
Bitcoin didn't exist.
Not as good as Bitcoin. Got it.
Yeah, not as good as Bitcoin. But again, $7,000 to $200,000. But I did it the wrong way, and I didn't know. Okay. The market was rising, and I thought I was a financial genius.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, we've been there, right?
Yeah.
I got 2 decades on you, so I went through that. And then the market got me, and I lost 80% before I went to cash.
Okay.
So now I got $40,000. And I'm not going back to stock market. I've been beaten. I'm defeated. And again, if people don't know my story, $200,000 was more cash, more money than anybody in my family had ever had. Mom, dad, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins. I was richy rich in my family. I mean, like stupid.
Wealthy.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, like it was crazy. So again, and then I go and lose 160 grand, and believe me, that was not a good feeling.
Yeah.
So that's the origin story of how I got to real estate, because I wasn't going to do stocks, and I have an MBA and an advanced degree and all of this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I go and find that purple book that my generation calls Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Okay, everyone likes that guy.
Well, I don't necessarily like the guy. I like the book.
Yeah.
Right? And it changed my life. Dude, he talked about stuff in that book that I never thought about. Rental properties. Never thought about it. Okay. I'm 30 years old now.
Yeah.
And I never thought about it.
Yeah.
And that was a great unlock for me.
Yeah.
And that was where I got to, hey, if I just get to 4 when I'm 65, I'll have more than anybody else. That was the grand vision because of that book.
Yeah. Before we continue with your story, you know what just struck chord with me? Who Robert Kiyosaki was to you, you are going to be that to other people. Have you ever thought about that?
I have been told that several times.
Dang, I thought I was
very
the
flattering.
Thought.
No, it's very flattering, and every time I hear it, it gives me goosebumps, because I give credit where credit's due. Robert Kiyosaki, that book, and he has others, changed my life for the better. And if I could do that just for one person, it's amazing. And I've heard it quite a bit.
Yeah, because if you think about it, this generation, they're not going to go read Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Probably not.
No, they're going to go on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, and then they're going to see stuff, and then they're going to,
who's this guy?
Yeah, what is this? What is rental properties? Blah, 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 blah. And then that's how they're going to get into real estate. So that's actually interesting. For some reason, I just...
And so I hope that happens.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you, when I wrote my book, which is Over Your Left Shoulder, One Rental at a Time, my vision, because you got to remember, so I'm 45 years old. Let me set the stage for you. So I'm 45 years old. I no longer work. My wife doesn't work. I have more money than I need. I have every want, need, and desire covered.
Damn.
And I'm depressed.
Why?
Because I have no mission.
Okay.
I don't have to be anywhere. I know, and you got to remember, I'm a type A salesperson who's been killing it for 20 years. I've done stuff nobody else has done, and my ego is wrapped up in being that guy.
I didn't know you were a salesperson. I thought you were more analytical.
No, dude, I was a sales guy for 20 some odd years.
Oh, okay. Okay, so let's get back to it. So, you lost your money.
I lost my money.
And then you're like, I got to do real estate, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Yeah. And then what happened?
So then I spend a year looking in the Silicon Valley.
Okay.
Didn't work. No cash flow. Fast forward, the wife says, hey, what are you doing? I'm done with this. You're wasting my time. And we pull out a California map and we find Fresno, California. At that point, in about 90 days, we found the first property we bought. We bought 1818 Norris Drive, 93703 for 107 grand. It rented for 1100.
Okay, so you got the 1% rule.
Yeah, 1% rule. That's what I believed in the day. I don't watch it. I don't believe it now. I think it sends you the wrong way, but yeah, 1% rule.
Got it.
And then we got a tenant in, and I thought we'd solved it. Yeah. And then, of course, if you read the book, you realize that the husband and wife got separated the first month they were in.
Yeah.
Wife takes off. Husband doesn't work anymore, becomes a professional alcoholic, and destroys my property.
Damn.
And no rent for 90 days, and then I get a destroyed house when I evict him.
Yeah.
That was my first rental.
And then so I'll tell you a quick story. So I bought this rental property. I'm not going to tell the address, but it's here in Vegas.
I no longer own 1818, so you do whatever you want.
So I bought this rental property, and I bought it for my mom, actually. Because at the time she was going through like a foreclosure. So I bought it, moved her in, and then I ended up buying another property, and then I moved my mom into that property, and I rented this property, right?
Okay, sounds good.
So I'm hella busy flipping houses, wholesaling, being a realtor. So I put it on Zillow. Some guy calls me. He's like, yeah, I'll pay you the $1,600. I'm like, all right, great. Well, just meet me, and I'll give you the keys or whatever. So he ended up meeting with my mom to get the keys, and then I spoke to him the day he was moving in, and I was like, hey, so like, what do you do for work? And after I said that, I was just like, I should have asked him.
Oops.
Yeah. I was like, I should have asked him this before I
Gave
signed the
the
lease.
keys?
Yeah. And he was like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. And I was like, oh, damn. I was like, what does
that mean?
Yeah, I was like, what do you do? He's like, oh, I do like crypto and all this stuff. I was like, oh, damn. So long story short, he ends up like not paying, like 6 months into it. He ends up just like, oh, I'm moving to California. You can have my deposit. I got to stay here. And it was just a disaster. But what I learned from that is you have to screen your tenants.
Yes, yeah. No,
lesson number one, don't give entrepreneurs your keys without knowing what they do for work.
I would rather have a unit vacant than a questionable tenant.
Ah, damn.
And I learned the
I
same.
need to look at all my tenants then because they're all
need to self-evaluate.
Yeah. But anyways, so you bought your first rental property. The tenant didn't work out. I'm guessing you evicted them and they got another tenant. How did you start to scale your rental portfolio?
So let's finish the story because again, I want everybody to realize. Remember, I lost all that money in the stock market. Felt defeated. Got a little taste of victory when we bought the house, moved a tenant in. Then this happened.
Then you lost again.
I am so ready to give up.
Yeah.
And again, sometimes it's very important to have a supportive spouse. Olivia, my wife, goes with me. I am waiting for her to say one thing and I won't even fight it. We're out. We'll sell it, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, did we do anything wrong? And the answer was no. We did all the right things. We didn't just give keys. Right, credit check, reference check, income. There's just no freaking box that says, "Are you going to get divorced?"
Yeah, are you crazy?
Yeah, are you crazy? That's not on the app, right? Yeah. It's not self-selection.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Let's try one more time," and that changed everything. The next tenant moved in, never missed a payment. We then buy 7 more houses in about 2.5 years. Norris Drive goes from 107. We ended up 1031ing at 265. So we ended up buying all these houses. Then, unlike a lot of the crash bros who weren't even born yet, I realized that it's getting unaffordable, and I sell all my houses. Sell them all. And I 1031 out of 8 houses into 80 units. So we go from 8 houses to 80 units in multifamily, 10-plex, 12-plex, 18 units. And then the crash happens.
Yeah.
Right? So what people don't realize is the crash was only in single families. Multifamilies take off. Right? Rents go up, values go up, cap rates go down. It's a great time. And then, oh, by the way, Norris Drive, which we sold for $265, that went as high as $300, retrades at $75,000.
Oh, so you
Fresno went down 70 to 75%.
Wow.
And we start buying again on the way down. Like we started buying houses like Norris Drive at like 150 to 140, and we were buying them all the way down. But we were doing it with private money because no banks would lend to us.
How did you raise private capital?
I started documenting our process. At the time, YouTube wasn't around. I wrote a blog called Wealth Building Pro.
Dang.
Right? I would just document, hey, this is the Gumball house. This is the Roach's house. This is the Broken Glass house. I would just name them instead of giving addresses.
Yeah.
And about the 4th or 5th one, buddies of mine would come to me and say, hey, can I be a part of this? So I never asked for private money. I just document what we're doing, and I've raised over $10 million in private money.
Really?
And at the time, I was paying 10 to 12% interest.
Okay, that's pretty standard right now.
Yeah.
I feel like,
Yeah, 10 to 12% interest.
Yeah.
Those were 5 and 10 year balloons. And then again, after 2018, I flipped 50 some odd homes, and I was only paying 6%, but I gave them 20% of the profit.
Got it. Oh, so you were flipping houses before?
I only did it after I left because I was bored.
Got it.
I quit my job. I had time. I had a team. I knew the market. But I did 57 flips.
Got it. Okay. So you exchange, you make out like a bandit when the freaking market crashed. You bought properties with private money, and I'm guessing then you refinanced them with stabilized loans. And then, like, how long did you do that before you ended up quitting your job?
So we do most of our purchase 9, 10, 11. Market rebounds when Wall Street came in. So we were buying from 12 to about 16 as properties were going up pretty heavily. And then Olivia retired in 16. She retired in 15. I retired in 18.
Got it. Was Olivia here?
She's here now, or she's in Vegas.
But was she here when you guys did your meetup here?
Yeah, she was at the event.
Was she Asian lady?
Yep.
Oh, okay, that's your wife?
Yes,
Got
my
it.
wife.
Okay. So you guys how much money were you making when you decided to retire from your rentals?
From the rentals, way more than like 3 or 4x our monthly expenses.
Really?
Yeah.
Like how much is that?
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
A month?
No, I'm sorry, that was a year. No.
Yeah. Probably like 10 grand.
No, 50-ish, 45, 50.
A month?
A month, net.
Damn.
Net.
And oh my gosh. And then so again, I'm just gonna ask it again. Do you think that's possible today?
Yeah, of
because
course.
everything's so expensive and like I know people are gonna hear this and they're like, oh, of course Zuber did it. He bought a house in 2002 or he's buying houses for 75K.
I bought a
and blah,
house
blah,
last
blah.
year. Again, it takes time. And what most people need to realize is that inflation is a feature, not a bug.
Mm-hmm.
Also, in the United States, we happen to be very lucky to have 30-year fixed rate debt, which is a one-way bet.
Yeah.
So if rates go up, you do nothing. If
Yeah.
rates go down meaningfully, you refi.
Yeah.
Right? And by inflation being a feature, not a bug on a 30-year asset,
Yeah.
you are paying, your tenants are paying off the debt with cheaper dollars.
Yeah.
Right? So again, as long as you have a long-term vision, wealth is possible. Like if I were to start today, I could not rebuild my portfolio. I'm not saying I could.
Yeah.
I've never said that.
Yeah.
The question is, could you repeat your success? And absolutely.
Yeah.
I would probably end the story with 30 to 35 single-family homes.
Yeah.
If I had to do it all again, if I had just had my druthers, it'd be, houses built between 2000 and 2015, so older stock, not the newest stuff, not the oldest stuff. And I would just put that stuff on 30-year paper and, buy a couple a year.
Yeah. So what do you think as far as like nowadays everyone's like obsessed with like creative finance and sub two and seller finance and all this stuff. What are your thoughts on those?
So seller financing, first off, from tired landlords or people who are retiring or they've depreciated it to zero, awesome strategy. I've done dozens of them and own them still. I'll never sell those. Those are awesome deals. So those are always been out there.
Yeah.
Sub two, it's the moment in the sun. I've been doing this a long time.
Really?
From 2012 to 2018, Burr was sexy.
Yeah.
And very, very possible.
Yeah.
Today,
I did all my Burrs.
I've done plenty. I've done,
Yeah.
I was writing about them on Bigger Pockets in 2008, 9, 10. But yeah, sub two is the thing today.
Yeah.
It is. It's just, and the reason it works today is the mortgage is the asset. It's the asset, not the house. It's the debt.
Yeah.
And
Do you think
it'll
that's
work.
gonna continue?
It'll work. It'll work till it doesn't.
Yeah.
Right? Eventually, rates will go up to a certain point. People will refi, sell out, and it won't have a play. But it's a long run. It'll have years to play out. We're repeating the 1980s. Guys, we have been here before. For those of you born after 1990, go back and research 1981 to 1985. That was when Robert G. Allen, who paced credits for being the original OG, Carlton Sheets.
Yeah.
Right? Creative financing is not new. Sub two is not new.
Yeah.
It's the asset. It's taking over the mortgage. So it's been here before. Go research some older books.
Yeah. I guess let's transition to just the overall real estate market.
Sure.
So when I got into real estate in 2016, I think things were appreciating, but it was a pretty stable market.
Yeah.
I started off as a realtor and I would make a joke when it was like 2020 to 2022. When I started real estate, if you listed a house overpriced, it didn't sell.
Of course.
I know, like the last few years, it was just like, oh, everything's gonna sell. Even if it was like 5K over, it just wouldn't sell. Yeah. Like literally, you had to be listed correctly. So I went through that. I went through a small recession when they raised interest rates.
Yep,
I think
18.
2018.
I remember.
I felt that. That was when I was just like, oh, okay, interest rates actually matter.
There are cycles.
Yeah. Like your ego will not get you through a recession.
Yeah.
Like, so I was like, okay, that's interesting. 2020 came. Obviously, I got rich. So shout out to that.
Doing the work. Congrats.
Yeah, did the work at the right time. And then 2022, they raised interest rates. And then right now, interest rates have been high since then. So we're coming on 2 years of high interest rates. Where do you see the real estate market going now?
So what I would tell someone in most markets, be prepared for 5 to 6 years of sideways.
Okay.
I believe real estate moves in decades, in cycles. And I think what happened in 2020 to 2022 is we got all the appreciation in 2 years.
Yeah.
So we've got somewhere between 4 and 7 years of basically a flat market.
Damn. Okay.
But if you know that,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
now I just go find motivated sellers and, create win-win situations. And
So you think interest rates are going to stay at like 7%?
let me answer it this way. I hope they do. I hope they stay at least for the year.
Why?
Because I want the housing market to be healed. The housing market's broken. The move-up buyer is not playing. The first-time home buyer can't get anything started. We need to have time for wages to catch up, for more and more people to be able to afford. But yeah,
But do you think wages are going to go up? I don't see that happening.
wages go up every year. Right now, real wages are going up about 1 or 2% a year.
Yeah, 1 or 2% is nothing.
But when you compound that over an 8 to 10 year decade, or 8 to 10 years left of the decade, it adds up.
It adds up, but I just don't see like even my own house.
Sure.
So I bought my house in California for $560.
Sure.
Right? I think my mortgage after refinancing was a $2,400. Let's say it's crazy, it was $2,600.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
But I think it was less. And then now it's worth $850
Sure.
conservatively.
Yeah.
With a 7% interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
I would not pay that price for that house. Even if the wages went up a point,
Yeah.
that it's not even close.
I agree. I mean, my personal experience, I live in a house that I probably couldn't even afford with today's rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how is 1%? 1% is not going to keep up.
Well, again, you got to remember there are a lot of options in the world, right? Just because I couldn't live in the condo that I have in Mountain View in the central heart of the city doesn't mean there's not something 45 minutes away. A lot of us now don't have to go to the office. There's hybrid employment. We can do lots more things. So people are just, it's options. They're going to trade down. You're not going to get the 4,000 square foot house. You're going to get the 2,000. You're not going to get the single family. You're going to get the townhouse. I think one of the answers we have to do is build smaller homes, frankly.
Yeah, I think, okay, so let's just continue with the economy. So what I think is going to happen is, because it's an election year,
Sure.
I hope to God that whoever's in office right now is going to be like, okay, we need to lower interest rates. We need to pressure the Fed to lower interest rates so that way we look good. The economy starts to be stimulated, and then they keep it there.
Okay. So when you say lower, so let's call owner-occ rates today 7. They're a little bit more than 7. Let's just call them 7. Where do you think he wants them?
I would love them to be at like 5.5.
Oh. All right.
Do you think that's possible?
No chance.
No?
0.
What? Okay, what about 6? 6, it's happening right now. Some people are getting 6.
Well, no, again, we got to talk about like the Mortgage Business Daily, the average mortgage rate 7. Yeah, if you want to pay points, yeah, go nuts, right?
Yeah.
And if you by the way, here's the secret. You want to go get I bought a house last year in Vegas. I got a 499.
Yeah.
How'd I do that? The builder paid 2 points to buy my rate down. So it can happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's sometimes you got to be careful what you wish for. So let me just paint you a vision.
Okay.
So basically, you're talking about 4 rate cuts because the Fed cuts in quarter increments.
Yeah.
And
they said they were going to do that, right?
They said 3.
Okay. But I was close.
You're close.
Yeah.
I mean, you're better than most. So
there
congratulations.
we go. Thank you.
You got it. You're watching the stuff. So I'm proud of you. So you are talking about 4. Let's just play with your first goal, 6, right? You want 5.5.
Yeah.
Let's just play with that one. It's 6. So the only way you're going to get to 6 is if unemployment spikes. So what was unemployment? Last reported 3.9.
Yeah.
Let's tell you what spike means. That means we're talking 5 to 5.5.
Okay.
So you're talking 3 to 3.5 million unemployed.
I can see that happening.
Oh, sure, it's possible. Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
So these are not impossible things. But what happens I've lived through 4 recessions.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you what happens next when your neighbor gets laid off. You get conservative.
I think that's happening right now.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the industry, not to cut you off, but the education industry, the real estate industry, tech industries are laying people off. People are seeing less people buy stuff.
Of course.
People are becoming less interested in real estate. Like I know some of the biggest gurus,
Oh yeah.
like literally the biggest companies even have shared with me like, oh yeah, like listeners are down, downloads are down, this is down because people don't have the money and they're going into conservation
Yep. They're
mode.
scared
Yeah.
consumer. They're afraid.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, this is coming. What I would tell you, you and the audience, is the next 2 years are going to be hard.
Okay. That doesn't sound fun.
Well, it depends on how you look at it.
Okay.
So they're going to be hard. A lot of people are going to suffer. A lot of people have toys and have set up their lifestyle where they're going to have to fire sell stuff,
Yeah.
right? They're going to have to raise cash. If you happen to be in a position where you want one of those toys or you have cash and you have these disposable, you're going to be able to pick up stuff at pennies on the dollar, where I don't care about that stuff. What I am looking forward to is the people that need to sell assets that produce rent and cash flow. Because again, when the economy tanks and this gets soft, everybody gets scared, buyers pull back. People who are ready, which I've been preparing for over a year, will be able to come in and buy, generational wealth. I will probably do more profitable deals in the next 2 years than I did in the last 5 combined.
You believe that?
Absolutely.
And you think houses are going to go down that
No,
much? Or?
no, it's all multifamily. It's not houses.
Okay, so let's transition to multifamily. So,
And the reason residential, just to close on that, is the debt.
secure debt.
It's fixed.
Yeah.
People don't realize that even if you have a 30-year mortgage, this blows people away. Let's just say you bought a house at 500, and let's say you borrowed 100%,
Yeah.
500 grand.
Yeah.
Let's just pretend that your neighborhood gets hit by a nuclear war, and now it's worth 250.
Yeah.
The bank can't call the loan
Yeah.
as long as you make the payment,
Yeah.
right? But in commercial, it's an entirely different game.
Yeah.
Different lending structure, different debt structure. You can be a technical to fart when you fart in the wind,
Yeah.
right? And that's going to cause a lot of chaos.
Yeah, they're saying happy birthday to someone in the office. I don't know if they could hear them, but so okay, let's transition to multifamily now. So again, I've had Brandon Turner, Rob Khalif.
Oh yeah.
I've had every big Sam Prim. I've had a bunch of huge real estate syndicators on the podcast.
I'm
right?
sure you have. And they're about to lose a lot of people a lot of money.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't, go listen to those podcasts. And if you haven't, subscribe to the channel if you haven't.
Yeah,
yet.
come on, support your boy.
Yeah, support. We just passed 15,000 subscribers.
That's a tough.
So shout out to you guys.
That's awesome.
So I've had the biggest guys recently on the podcast, and they'll even say like, they're going through hard times right now on some deals.
Of course.
Some deals, I'm sure they're doing great. Some deals, they're open about it where they're like, okay, we're going to have to figure something out because prices on those have gone down. Banks don't want to refinance. Banks want more money, so they're having to raise more on a property that's not worth what they bought it for.
Yeah.
So what do you think is going to happen to the multifamily property?
So commercial in general is already down. Commercial includes office, warehouse, all of that's down 20% already. Office itself's down 40. I think there's a bloodbath coming to multifamily.
How soon?
I think it's already started. If I were to use a baseball analogy, we're probably in the second inning of a 9-inning game.
Dang, that's not good.
That's not good. No, I mean, like some of these people that are already voicing pain
Oh yeah.
don't even know what's coming.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be bad. And I don't know any of these guys' deals, but I've been an accredited investor for over a decade, and I see a lot of these deals come by my desk, and they were crap the day I saw them. Bad assumptions, bad debt structure, 1 or 2 year IO, which is interest only. The only way they could win is to have a greater fool. And dude, the stuff that went out in multifamily the last 3 years is the same crap that blew up the housing market. Bad assumptions, bad debt structures, stupid investors. The pain that's coming to multifamily is, again, it's the second inning. And here's the deal. When it was residential, the banks took the pain. In commercial, equity takes the pain.
Yeah.
The LPs take the pain.
Yeah.
And a lot of LPs' money is already zero, and they don't know it yet.
Yeah. Or some do know it. Yeah.
No, dude, it's the second inning. You just wait. This is not even, this is like the beginning of the beginning.
Really? That sucks.
No, it doesn't. It's awesome because I've been telling you it's coming, and I want to pick up some of these things.
Yeah, but I feel like I know a lot of people that have multifamily, and the people that I mentioned, just by the way, you can go watch the podcast. They said what they said about it, so there's nothing secret than what they
No.
said on the podcast. But like I think that um, so what do you think is going to happen? Let's say a building is worth $1 million right now. How low do you think those prices will go?
It's really hard to say, but it would not shock me if many buildings trade for 50% of the previous purchase price.
But how could they go that low if there's so much capital in the market where like big institutions would just buy them?
Well, again, they got to be the right asset type, right? If it's a Class A building, there's probably a floor. Class A is probably, man, if it hits 75%, that'll get snapped up. Which again, right? If they do 75%, the debt is covered, the equity is zero because most of these people are doing 25, 30% down, right? So equity still goes to zero. But what I was looking at was kind of B class, older stuff. That was the stuff that got really overvalued. There was a time where B class buildings were trading at A class cap rates.
Yeah.
And that's not normal.
Yeah.
That has to unwind.
Yeah.
And every time I've seen a market, it always regresses to the mean. What does that mean? It always goes past where it should and then snaps back.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I'm calling. Yeah, I think some of these stuff will trade at 50% below. It'll be generational wealth opportunities for those that are prepared. And then in 18 months, once they cleanse out the system, they'll snap back to where they are. So yeah, the problem is the debt is all blowing up at the same time, and there's only so many buyers.
Yeah.
Right. So they'll pick up the
These
ones
are
that they
big
want.
apartments you're talking about. These are not like 5 units,
Well,
7 units.
No, so I love that we're going here. You're very good at this. So a lot of the stuff we were talking about is the bigger stuff, right? The guys that you ran off,
Yeah.
they're playing up here.
Yeah, they're buying
They're not.
$20 million
I don't play in that space.
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
clear, I have none of that stuff. I don't play in that space, but I understand it, and I've been evaluating it for a decade.
Yeah.
I am looking to buy the 5s to 40 units.
Got it.
It has the same problem, just a different scale. Overpaid, cap rates are wrong, bad assumptions, bad debt structures, and I can do all that with community banks.
Interesting.
So there is an opportunity. The same crap that we just talked about, the big ones, is occurring at the smaller commercial also. It's the debt that's blowing up. So yeah,
Where do you think you're going to find these deals?
you got to know bankers.
Okay.
You got to know bankers. You got to network with community banks. One of the things I've been doing for the last couple of years, because I have some of this debt, is going to my community bank to do my financial statement, which when you have commercial, you have to do once a year financial audits.
Yeah.
So I went in, so this is 24, this is late 22, so it's just over a year ago. I go to see my banker, here's my PFS, personal financial statement, here's small me reserves, all that. Okay, great, thumbs up, keep going. And before he leaves, he goes, Michael, you got a minute? Of course I do, you're my banker, I got all the time you need. He goes, I got to show you something. And he pulls out a manila folder, it was about that thick. And he goes, these are all the loans that I can't refi.
Damn.
So that was, I don't know, hundreds of millions of dollars. And the reason he can't refi them is they were over-indexed on a certain asset type in a certain market. They had to de-risk it.
Yeah.
So what does that mean for these people? Some of them have cash, they'll just pay it off. Some of them could go to another bank, but they're going to become forced sellers.
Yeah.
A large portion of those. So
Yeah.
you got to network with bankers.
What do you think as far as when do you think we're going to get to like the middle or
Like the
when
fourth or fifth inning,
Yeah.
25, summer of 25.
Okay, so we have a while.
Yeah, I think this is a 3-year run to get to the 9 innings. We're at the start of the start.
Got it. Okay.
And it will be short. I mean, 3 years may seem like a long time if you've only been in the industry 3 years.
Yeah.
But when you're in the industry 25 years like me, 3 years is nothing.
Yeah.
It's a blink.
Yeah. What do you think as far as when the time comes, are normal mom and pop beginner investors even going to be able to purchase these properties? Or do you think like BlackRock and like these big Wedgwood and these big funds are just going to just buy them all?
So my experience, I've competed with Wall Street. You got to figure out, Wall Street is actually rather easy to figure out.
Okay.
They have a buy box. They only buy a certain type of thing.
Yeah.
So here's a hint. Don't buy that shit.
Yeah.
Because they'll just run you over.
Yeah.
So buy around it, buy the different asset types. Like there was a time in Fresno, they would never buy a 2-bedroom home. Guess what? I bought a lot of 2-bedroom homes and made them 3 bedrooms.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, just find the value, right? Find their holes. But I would say The average mom and pop investors, if they could do what I'm doing, like the 5s to 40 units, absolutely, because they're not going to come down that low.
When this market shift happens, are you going to be buying in like just California and Las Vegas, or are you going to open up?
Nah, I'm lucky enough that I'm no longer in growth mode. I'm in, entertainment mode. So I'm not going to overstretch. I'll do Vegas and Central Valley.
Really? Even
don't
if you
have to.
found a good deal somewhere else?
Nope, no interest.
Why?
I don't need the money. I don't need the headache. The hardest thing about what I do is building a team.
Okay.
It's building a team. That's the unlock. Because again, I don't know about you, but I've had people lie to me, steal from me,
Yeah.
And break promises.
Yeah.
That's hard to do states away.
I mean, I feel like you can do it anywhere.
No, you can.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
But if you don't have to,
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about building a team. What kind of team do you need to scale a rental portfolio?
this is a good one. So Bigger Pockets always talks about the core 4.
Core 4.
Yeah, all those, property manager, realtor, banker, those folks. I actually think there's a 5th and the most important. So they miss it.
A wife.
Supportive wife. Hi, honey.
That's number 1.
That's right. Fair enough. Other than that, that goes without saying.
Yeah.
You have to network with other successful real estate investors. The greatest unlock I've ever had is finding other investors that are doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because once you prove that you're doing it and you're having value and you're willing to give back, they'll tell you everything.
Yeah.
So if you're going to go to a new market or you're going to do a new thing, get out of your comfort zone. Stop living in your phone. Go to meetups. Go online. Just go tell people what you're doing. Go introduce yourself around.
Yeah.
That's the greatest unlock, is getting a positive community of other folks already doing it.
Yeah, so you said community, realtor, property manager,
Banker,
and
then like contractor, repair.
Contractor. Got it. Okay, got it. Okay, so that's a good group to have. Okay, so I mean, I feel like we went over real estate. Is there anything you think we didn't cover in real estate?
The only thing I would say is, again, great unlocks today. We talked about like buying your home and moving it. I think house hacking is great.
Yeah.
Right, 1 to 4 units, you can do those really easy. I think you could do 203K loans. I think you do live-in flips. I just think there's so many ways to get started.
Yeah, but the key is to get started.
Get started.
Yeah. So I always use the analogy of basketball. So let's say me and you are playing basketball.
Okay.
We're on a team, right? Let's just say you're more talented than me, right?
Unlikely, but okay.
Yeah, maybe you are. But maybe you're more athletic, all this stuff, right? And you're better at just basketball,
okay,
right? But let's say I'm in the game longer, right?
Yeah.
I start the game, I'm playing the game. Maybe I'm not great, but I'm getting lucky shots because I'm just near the rim sometimes, right? And I'm getting some rebounds and I'm getting all this stuff. I'm still going to outperform you because I'm in the game.
Of course.
If you're on the sidelines watching, kind of like studying, listening to podcasts and all this crap, I'm still going to beat you even though I'm, less talented.
No, there's no question. I think Kobe Bryant is basically said this, right? I think he was ranked one time like number 87 out of 100 in the state of California or wherever he was from. And he quickly rose the ranks because he would just work harder.
Yeah.
And like he would go in at 6 a.m. and then he'd do a lunch thing and then he was just in it more often, right?
Yeah.
It's the reps.
Yeah.
Right? If you just get a little bit better every time, you'd be amazed at what can happen. And that's, if we want to switch to YouTube, that's my story in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I've been doing daily stuff for 5 years.
Yeah, I want to transition to social media, but first I want to transition to mindset because I feel like you're a nice guy. You're a nice guy, but you're really something else. Like you're in disguise. Like you're a nice guy, but you're really like a freaking
I'm a killer.
Yeah.
I'm a killer.
Yeah. But you're all like, you got your purple, you got your Nikes on, but you're like, I'm trying to freaking win and I'm going to show everyone and I feel like that's how your mindset works, but you don't, maybe you do talk about it and I just don't know.
No, yeah. I mean, when I'm focused and I'm competing, I'm focused and competing.
Okay. So let's start with focus, right? When did you realize that you had great focus?
I wish I had a better answer, but I didn't know. So my superpower is focus.
Oh.
It without question.
Okay.
But I didn't know it until I tried to help others repeat what is easy to me. Sometimes you don't understand what is a gift to you until you try to give it to others and they don't pick it up. They don't get it. You're like, how can you not get that? That's like, it's like tying your shoes. I mean, what's going on, right? So I never appreciated that my focus and daily discipline is my superpower.
Okay.
So plenty of examples. And again, I say this as somebody who has looked at their buy box for 20 years, 365 days a year for 20 years. Like when I talk about focus and daily discipline, that's it. I've been doing YouTube videos posting content 7 days a week for 5 years, right? Multiple videos a day.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, I'm already excited for tomorrow because, it's just how my brain works.
With Adrian.
Yeah, it's Wednesday with Adrian and, Anna Kelly at 8 and Adrian at 9 and,
oh my gosh, that just sounds like a headache, to be honest.
Oh, it's awesome, man. It's awesome.
To me, but anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, so, and then if you want to go back, I think the first time I realized that focus, when I go back and I revisit this, I was a 7 or 8 year old kid. I was laying on the floor. My family had black tile at the time. It was like the peel and stick stuff. It was all cracking and stuff. But what I was doing, and the reason I remember it, is I was counting pennies. Okay. So this had to be like 82, 83. Yeah. I'm counting pennies and I'm stacking them up in neat little rows of 10 for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I get done with it for hours, right? There's big rows. And I'm done. I've counted all the pennies. I knock them all down and I start again.
Okay.
That's freaking weird.
Yeah.
But it was just the exercise of doing and I was enjoying it. What most people would consider monotonous.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed for whatever reason. I have no idea. I can't explain it.
Yeah. For me, now that you're talking about your childhood, I remember as a child, I would always be like the leader. So that even with a bunch of kids in our apartment complex, we got bullied by these older kids, right? We call them the older kids. And I would kind of organize my group like, all right, listen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to stay over here. If they come, we're going to fight, but then we're going to run over here.
Yeah, we got an escape route.
Yeah. Like I was always like, and they would line up and I would say, this is what we're going to do, guys. Like I was always the leader. In high school, the same thing. Even though I was a troublemaker, I was always kind of organizing the trouble. And so I did realize that I was always kind of leading stuff. But okay, back to focus. So when did you realize that you had great focus in like real estate specifically?
Once I realized that I could look at my buy box, which again was, you got to remember. So I decided to invest in Fresno, California. Yeah. Never lived there. Didn't know anybody. Right? Never been there. Yeah. And I picked it. I think that was the first thing. All these things, right? This is not sounding good. There.
I didn't know anyone. Yeah. Never been there.
Yeah. It's like really bad, right? Yeah. Right? No history. Yeah. But the numbers worked.
Okay.
Right? And so we went down there. We had to figure out where we were going to look. And anytime you pick, like, I'm going to invest in Cleveland or Dallas, it's just, in Vegas. It's just too big. Yeah. Especially as an outsider. You've got no history. You got no experience. Easy to get lost. Easy to make mistakes. So the first thing I did is I networked with about 50 people, again, get in new communities. And I asked everybody, where would you invest? Where would you invest? Where would you invest? And enough people said what was called the Mayfair District. It happens to be 93703. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess we're going to look at 93703. But even that was too big because there's houses and duplexes and apartments and mobile homes. And so, okay, I don't know anything else. I'm going to do homes because I didn't know any better. Yeah. Right? And then I'm like, okay, what kind of home? Because there's little homes and there's big homes. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I've only ever lived in a 3 or 4 bedroom. That was kind of the extent of it. Yeah. Right? So what I did is I looked at that criteria 7 days a week, 365 days a year for 3 years. And when I talk about a buy box and focus, you got to remember, I'm ignoring everything else. And I think that's where most investors go wrong. Oh, of course. Is they're like, hey, I'm going to look at my buy box. Oh, by the way, nothing changed. I'm going to go look over here. And I'm going to go look over here. I'm going to go look over here. And it just creates confusion. I knew it was my buy box. If nothing changed from Wednesday to Tuesday, it took me 60 seconds and I was out. Yeah. But some days stuff changed. And I would note it and I would write it down and I would learn and I would see stuff come back. And every once in a while, a big old fat tuna would come by. It would be mispriced or bad listing or whatever. And I'd be like, that is better than anything I've seen. I'm going to write an offer. Yeah. And I did that 8 times. I got 8 homes.
And you were buying it with 25% down.
The first one was 20% down at the time. And then everything else was only 10% because this was pre-crash. Got it. So you could do what's called 80-10-10.
Got it. Okay. So I'll tell you some of my focus. So I remember, I'm going to cut the story down so short. So I used to make like 30 to 40K a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
I met a realtor. This guy's like, I make 60K a year. I was like, this
Damn!
guy's rich. Like, holy crap. And he has a Mazda. This guy's killing it.
He's balling.
Yeah. So I get my real estate license, and my broker is like, you got a cold call. And I was just like, okay, that's it? And he's like, yeah. I was like, okay, I could do that. So I start cold calling just with my cell phone. Like, I'm literally like,
actually dialing, right?
Actually dialing,
No
calling
dialers.
like this. My phone would get hot. My phone would literally get hot, and I put it to my face. It probably wasn't even good for me.
You got a pill tumor.
Yeah. So, okay, so, but then I started to get leads where people are like, yeah, like I want to sell, but blah, 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 blah. And then I was just like, okay, like I kind of get this. And then this happened for like 2 weeks. And then I went on my first appointment, and the lady was just like, yeah, it was actually a guy. It was on Greenbrier. It's a townhouse here in Las Vegas. Do you know where that is?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. So Greenbrier Way. So anyways, so I go on the appointment. It's like this Arabic guy and his wife. He was a FISBO.
Okay.
And when I showed up, another agent was leaving.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, this is interesting. Long story short, I could tell the guy liked me. And I'm like, all right, let's just do the listing then.
Yeah.
And his wife was standing up behind him like, don't sign with him. Like, wait, blah, 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 blah. And it was like $100,000 townhouse, right? And I'm like, come on, man. Like, I have no skills. I'm just begging.
Begging.
Yeah, I'm just like, come on, man. Like,
help me out.
Let's do it. And then he's just like, I don't know. I was like, come on, man. I know you want to do it. Here, hold the pen. Do it. Like, it's just so stupid and sloppy. So anyways, I got the listing, and I come back to the office, and I show my broker. I'm like, oh, I got a listing. He's like, how did you do that? I was like, oh, just cold calling. He's like, oh, well, just keep doing that. And I was like, all right. Long story short, I just kill it cold calling, right? Like, I made hundreds of thousands of dollars my first year just cold calling. And then I'm like, okay, so if I could just cold call and make money, I'm just going to cold call. So I would wake up at 6, start dialing at 7, which is illegal, and I would just cold call until I just couldn't cold call anymore.
Awesome.
There was no other plan besides just do that.
Yeah.
And then I quickly became the best agent in the office. Quickly, everyone was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just cold calling. But I would watch other people cold call. They'd call a little bit. They'd go
get coffee, get a break, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. They were just BSing.
The phone weighs 50 pounds. They got tired.
Yeah, they're just BSing. Where I'm literally just cold calling.
Yeah.
And that's, I was dreaming about this last night. That's actually what made me a millionaire.
Absolutely.
Not all the other crap. It was just that small thing. But when you tell people that, they don't understand it or they don't believe you. They're like, it's something else. But like, if you cold call, you talk to leads, they tell you the problems. You learn how to fix the problems, and then you slowly become an expert. Just like you said, you start looking at an area. You start saying, okay, well, this is high, this is low. Oh, this is a good deal. And they're like, Michael, how are you finding these deals?
How'd you do 8 homes? I looked 1,000 days in a row.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that answer.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do the work.
Yeah.
All right, that's why I wear this damn hat. Do the work. Like, stop it. Just do the work.
Okay, so let's talk about the opposite side. Have you ever felt like your focus, like you lost focus?
Well, unfortunately, actually, the downside of what I do is if the thing that I want to get done is not in focus, it's not in focus. So sometimes that would mean I would get unhealthy. I would gain weight. I would do these other things.
Oh, yeah.
Because what I talk about, again, is a very short duration, but I become very unbalanced.
Yeah.
And that's not great long term. Like, for example, just on the social media side, I was doing 7 days a week lives at 7:30 a.m. for 3 years. Damn. And my wife came to me and goes, stop it. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm having fun. I don't want, I said this, I don't want to stop. I've done 1,000 days. I can't stop now. She goes, I'm going to divorce you if you don't stop.
No.
I'm like, how about 5 days a week?
No.
But she was doing it for the right reasons, because she was like, hey, it's becoming too much.
Why was that becoming too much?
It's just, to her, it was becoming too much. She thought that I would crumble eventually. So now I do it 5 days a week. What? It was the right thing to do. I was getting too much into it. Yeah.
But it's just a 7 a.m. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, it's because, again, it takes preparation, right? You got to read, you got to get ready for it. So
yeah,
it's now nice that we could take, like, Like I don't record Fridays and Saturdays.
Yeah.
So like if she wants to go do something fun, like go see Red Rock Canyon or something,
Yeah.
we could take off in the morning and I don't have to be somewhere where I can do my 7:30.
Got it.
Right. So she now has flexibility for those 2 days to do things in the morning
Yeah.
that she can plan for.
Yeah.
As opposed to, oh God, I got to have bandwidth. I got to do this. I got to have lighting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Interesting.
It's more options.
Got it. Okay. So I could obviously like, I almost got a divorce a couple times because I'm just like,
Maniacal, right?
Yeah.
And I will admit, and I've told her many times, it was the right decision, right? Sometimes you got to pull back. Like when you're starting something,
yeah,
when I started YouTube, YouTube's hard,
it is
right?
hard.
Congrats, 15,000. Like
Yeah.
the first 400, hard. The first 1,000, hard. The first 5,000, hard.
Yeah.
So I probably had to go 1,000 days in a row to get the reps,
Yeah.
like the cold calling, right?
Yeah.
Right, but then you get your tribe and you get your consistency.
Yeah.
You figure out what works and what doesn't work, and then you can pull back a little, and you still have momentum.
Yeah. Have you ever struggled getting focused for something that you wanted to do?
No, I'm broken.
Really?
No.
Outside of business?
No, anything. Like one time I wanted to get down to a weight I was in high school. It just was the thing. Like
Interesting.
whatever clicks, like I gotta want it,
Yeah.
right? I'm a 0-1 guy, white, black guy. I'm no gray. There's like no grays in my life,
Yeah.
right? But if it clicks,
Do you
all
have
in.
vices?
Vices. I used to gamble. I no longer
okay.
gamble.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to gamble.
Yeah, I used to gamble, but I don't gamble anymore. What about, okay, so what are some of your personality strengths and weaknesses besides focus?
I'll tell you what the most. So I have an advanced degree. I have an MBA.
Okay.
Right, so it means I went to school for a long time. My most valuable class and the only class that made me a millionaire, I took at a junior college.
Uh-huh.
It was public speaking.
Oh, okay.
Public speaking.
Yeah.
Most valuable class. The only like if I had to do it again, it'd be like the only class I would take over accounting and econ and all that stuff. Is public speaking. Because I was an introvert. Like
Yeah.
you were the guy kind of organizing folks.
Yeah.
In my neighborhood, I was the guy that would never talk to anybody. I was okay being alone. Right? In fact, I would argue that I would prefer to be alone. Unless it was in a sport game, like sports, like soccer, baseball, football, I didn't fit in. I was always the nerd. I was always the outcast.
Yeah.
I didn't click with anybody.
Yeah.
Right? I was the kid that people picked on.
Yeah.
Right? So I learned how to fight and lose and fight again and lose, and
Yeah.
it's just, I was that kid that was picked on.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And how does that translate now?
I don't mind getting in fights, right? 'Cause
Are you abrasive?
I can be.
Yeah, you sometimes you say stuff. I'm like, okay, I can see a little.
Yeah, I can be. Yeah, I go from cordial to irritated very quickly.
Interesting. Interesting.
I can be cordial, but you can also like I have hot buttons. Like
Yeah.
you want to piss me off, call me lucky.
Yeah.
Like those are like calling me lucky is fighting words.
Yeah.
There's nothing about my life that's been lucky. Everything I've had, I've worked my ass hard for, and I've worked 5 times harder than you have. So F you.
Yeah. I've struggled with being abrasive, and like I could be very straight to the point where I make people like cry or shut down or stuff like that.
Yeah, I have.
So I have to like pull back, and like it's something that I've like last year I think I fixed it, but then what happened when things started in like my real estate business to go wrong and like pressure went up, my abrasiveness came back.
Yep.
So that's something that I actively have to work on.
You know my nickname. So I ran teams the last 10 years of my career, and I didn't know this until right before actually I guess they told me after I was retired. They called me the bazooka. Because anytime there was a problem with somebody messing with my team, I would just go nuclear, right? I would go all out to squash whatever it was. Yeah. And they're like, dude, all you had to do is make one phone call.
I know.
You didn't have to like, you went a little too far. So yeah, they had to learn how to manage me because you don't mess with my team.
Yeah. What about like, have you ever went through a phase where you just wanted to focus on being happy and fulfilled, or are you just grinding?
I'm trying to be better at that. I'm actively in that stage right now.
Okay.
Where I'm trying to make happy the thing. And happy is really weird because it's not measurable.
Yeah.
It's not like I can go and look at a phone for a happiness score.
Yeah.
Right? Or a machine. So I'm in that mental mind loop right now, actually.
How long have you been there?
About a year. 9 months a year.
And do you feel like you're happier?
I think so, but I can't quantify it.
Are you tracking it?
I don't know how to track it.
Well, you should go listen to my podcast with Brandon Carter.
Carter. Okay, I haven't
Yeah.
seen that one.
So
I saw Turner's
do you
one.
know Brandon Carter?
I do not.
Okay, so he's a fitness influencer.
Oh,
but
he is.
he's like a freaking robot. I'll just send you the clip. But
Thank you.
he's first of all super jacked.
Okay.
Like super jacked. Like his name is King Keto on
Okay.
Instagram. You've probably seen him.
I've
He's
seen
bald.
it. Yeah. I think I know that.
So I was going through a phase where I just didn't feel happy and unfulfilled and all this crap. And I was asking him about it, and he was like, "Oh man, you just have to score it." And I was like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah.
So there's actually a mood app where every day you kind of give yourself a score, a 1 if you're feeling terrible, a 10 if you're feeling like you're going to a Drake concert.
Okay,
That's
got
what
it.
he said, right?
Yeah.
And every day you keep score,
Okay.
right? I think you do it 3 times a day. And actually, my therapist told me to do this too back in the day.
All right.
So you do this 3 times a day. And then what you start to do is when you're having ones, you start to write down like, why are you feeling that?
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
And then what he said is what you'll start to notice is certain things are continuously bothering you.
They're like triggers or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like, oh, it's Maria. Maria pissed me off today. She pissed me off this week. So slowly, if you start to eliminate these things,
I like
or
it.
or work on that interaction, your bottom score will start to go up. And it's the same thing with the 10s. You're like, oh, I liked when I did this. I liked this when I did that. Then you start to realize, like, okay, how could I do this more?
Yeah.
And then you slowly become more happier.
I like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it actually worked. So
Okay.
I did it. And then another thing that I did is I started going to church.
Okay.
So when I started going to church, I've never felt more fulfillment and joy and gratefulness until I started going to church.
Okay.
Have you tried going to church? Do you go to church?
No, I haven't. I haven't been to church once in my entire life.
Well, we got this church called City Light here in Las Vegas.
There's a lot of people. Yeah, city like Sean Cannell.
Yeah. Neil, I forgot his last name, the mortgage guy.
Yeah.
They all go to City Light. And the reason why is because, so a couple of reasons. Number one is a different culture. So like the real estate culture is different than this culture is different than that culture.
Sure.
So when you go to church and people are talking about, like openly talking about fulfillment, grace, love, marriage, this, that.
Okay.
Like when these conversations are just happening more often, you become more
It becomes
aware.
okay, right?
Yeah, it becomes more okay. And then like so with Ryan, there's a guy named Chris Lee that works here. He runs Wealthy Kingdom.
Okay.
All these guys, right? They're very religious men, Christian men.
Sure.
And I learned real estate from Ryan, but then now I'm learning like how to be a better husband, how to be a better Christian, just how to be a better human with grace and love and fulfillment and all this stuff.
I like it.
And whenever I started going to church, like I would be on my way to work crying with just gratefulness.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, yeah. And I've been like a dead soul. Like my wife, everyone's always called me the Grinch. I'm like, I don't want to go to Disneyland. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But once I started going to church, that, and then also the mood thing, when I started tracking it, I stopped tracking it. But there was a moment there where I was just like, I am not happy. And then once I started doing that, I started being like, okay, this is triggering me. I need to fix this.
I like that.
So yeah, that was
All right.
long story.
I need that clip. All right.
Yeah. Let me know if you try these things.
I will.
But anything else that you feel like before we get to social media, like strengths or challenges?
I keep a really small circle.
Is that good or bad?
I think it's a strength. I think a lot of people let too many voices in their world.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would tell you is I've purposely, I shake up my core 4, my top 5 friends a lot, right? The friends that I have today were not the ones I had 5 or 6 years ago. I'm a different person. They're a different person. I'm trying to be something different. So I think too many people get comfortable, and comfort's the evil. Comfort's evil.
Comfort's evil. That's such a good. You literally, I don't know. You just read my mind. So, I'll tell you something I've been struggling with. So, focus. I've been struggling with focus for sure. Where I used to be like a killer looking for deals. Now I'm just kind of like, all right, I got to do social media. I got to do this wealthy investor stuff. I got to do this wealth con stuff. I got to do real estate. I got to be a good husband. I got to do this, that. And I'm just like not focused.
You got a lot.
Have you ever gone through something like this?
Yeah, I mean, I tried to launch products and do all the. I mean, certainly you're in a tough spot. I've been in similar situations.
And how'd you fix it?
You've got to create priorities, and you have to create time blocks. And sometimes you got to sleep less.
Yeah.
Right? At the end of the day, when you're trying to get all things done and you're raising a family, because I've been there, right? My daughter now is 31.
Yeah.
Right. So she's already doing her thing. But there was a time when I was traveling 100,000 miles a year, trying to grow a real estate portfolio, trying to be a good husband, and trying to take her to dance class on Fridays. And, do all these other things. Sometimes you just got to get up earlier. You got to stay later.
Yeah. Okay. Last thing before we transition to social media. What about being a husband? How do you be a good husband? And what were some of your strengths and challenges as a husband?
Yeah. So Olivia and I have been together a long, long time, and I only can speak to Olivia, right? I don't want to say all women because I don't know of all women.
Yeah.
Olivia is far more open about communicating feelings.
Yeah.
And feelings are very uncomfortable to me.
Yeah.
I don't like sharing feelings. It's not my thing, right?
You're like, how do you feel?
That's like,
Yeah.
we're not going there. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not. This is a trap. What is a trap?
Like, I feel like I want to be by myself.
Like I got a phone call.
Yeah.
I feel my phone buzzing.
Yeah.
But I guess there's been a couple of things. One of the things that really worked for us, because we were both, and again, Olivia was busy too, right? She was working, raising family, doing the portfolio too. We did a date night once a week.
Yeah.
We did a Friday sushi was our thing.
Yeah.
At the beginning, phones weren't a thing, but after a while, we would leave the phones in the car as we got older.
Yeah.
And phones were around. So date night was important, where you would just connect.
Yeah.
Right. So that was important, and communicate both ways. And you would both listen, right? Sometimes it's good to listen. Sometimes it's good to share what was going on. So that was a big thing for us. Also, not bringing work home, which is really hard. Like you can have a shit day here.
Yeah.
Try to leave it in the car. Do it, even if you have to pull into your garage or your parking spot and just wait for 5 minutes to let it leave you. Because if you just leave from your shit day here, drive home angry, get out of the car, open the door, slam the door, suddenly the mood's changed.
Yeah.
Right? Especially if you had kids, which I know you have kids. So I would tell you to probably, at least for me, what worked was sitting in the car for a couple of minutes to, okay, you're home now. It's a safe place. You're not around those assholes at work.
Yeah.
Right? The people inside love you.
Yeah.
They want to have a good time with you.
Yeah.
So get ready for that. So
Got
that
it.
was a big one for me.
Yeah. Any challenges?
Always. I didn't communicate enough. I didn't share what I wanted enough, which is really shocking. Even recently, I still don't share like I'm so focused on just executing. Sometimes Olivia doesn't know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
To me, it's so clear.
Yeah.
But hey, stupid, you haven't told her. Like,
Yeah.
how is she supposed to know? She doesn't read minds.
Yeah.
Right? So I still struggle. I'm by no means perfect.
Got it. Yeah, I think for me, my struggle is like feeling sting. And when I had a therapist, she would ask me, like, let's just say me and my wife were going through something. And then she'd be like, oh, like, how do you feel about that? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That was like my legit answer.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. And she's like, well, think about it. And I was like, I don't feel anything.
Yeah, it's like, I should be feeling something right now, but the words are not coming.
Yeah. Or what I learned is like, so I would feel mad, but what I was really doing was I was sad, and I was trying to combat what I was upset about. So like fight or flight, I would just fight. So if my wife said something that hurt my feelings,
Right.
I didn't even think that she hurt my feelings. I thought she just made me mad.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
Yeah.
I did see the surf below the surface.
Yeah, but I guess anger is a secondary emotion,
Correct.
which I never knew that.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, oh, okay, this is why I'm doing this. So instead of reacting, I got to sit back, reflect on how I feel, and then explain it to her. And then sometimes she still didn't get it, but whatever. At least I kind
even
of
tried.
understood
Yeah.
what was happening. That was a struggle. Obviously, like I was working too much for a while. Where there was a couple of years where I heard Tom Brady say one time, he was like, football is number one, and then my family is number 1B. Like my football is just as important. I was the same way with real estate, where there was years where I knew for sure going into it, I was like, this year I'm gonna focus on real estate first. I'm gonna forfeit the Disneylands, the birthdays, the Sundays, this to that,
Yeah.
and I purposely forfeited that stuff.
Yeah.
But now I've gotten better for sure as a leader. I think going to church at first, like my wife didn't really want to go to church, and at first I just didn't care. I was like, whatever, you don't go to church. But then as a leader, I'm like, okay, like for my kids and for her spirit, I'm kind of the man of the household, so I got to kind of at least try.
Yeah.
So now we all go to church and it's great.
That's awesome.
And then I think like boundaries with like my parents-in-law, like at first we had no boundaries. And then the hard part is when you don't have boundaries for years.
Yeah.
And then you
try to create boundaries. Yeah, that's gonna be weird.
Yeah. So I struggled with that, but we fixed that.
Nice.
But so random. But anyways, okay, let's transition to social media.
Sure.
So I didn't know you had such a loyal following until we had a meetup here, and there was like almost 200 people here to see you, and they were all W-2 people.
Most from out of town.
Yeah, most from out of town. Like 99% were like from out of town. They were wanting to buy rental properties. I just didn't even know you had it like that, right? So I guess talk to me about your career in social media.
So for the longest time, all I had was LinkedIn, because as an enterprise software leader, that's where you recruited.
Okay.
So that's all I had. No Twitter, no Facebook, no Instagram, nothing. I didn't even know this stuff existed.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't part of my routine. Then I retire. I start getting depressed. I go on a trip because, if you're depressed, just go somewhere else. We went to Taiwan, where my wife's from. And we're in the back of a car, family car, and I don't speak Mandarin. My wife's family is Chinese. They speak Mandarin. And it's really loud. If you've ever been in a car with people speaking Chinese, it's very loud.
Oh, is it?
Oh, it's very loud. So then I put in earphones, and I pull up YouTube, and I find Meet Kevin and Graham Stephan.
Oh, interesting.
This is 2018.
That was recently.
Well, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And both of these guys are talking real estate, and they're young. I mean, they're young now. I've met both of them. Right?
Yeah.
They're young. They're real young then.
That's funny.
And they got like 7 units.
Okay.
And, I'm rolling with almost 200 at the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, there's something here.
Yeah.
So on that trip, I decide to write one rental at a time and start a YouTube channel. My anniversary is like March 15th, so it just passed. March 13th or whatever.
Okay.
So I create a YouTube channel. And I start doing talking head videos like, hey, did you ever think about starting a rental property or whatever? Just going about my way. And again, like I said earlier, I'm focused. So I purposely set out to do a video a day.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. I don't know any different. And what somebody might not realize is I did 1,200 videos before I was monetized.
Damn.
I didn't even know monetization was a thing.
So you did it for 2 years before you got?
No, 1,200 videos to me was like 11 months.
Oh, okay. So you're doing more than one a day.
I was.
You're doing like 2 or 3 a day.
2 or 3 a day.
Yeah.
So so we get monetized.
How many views were you getting in the beginning?
Oh, it was not. I mean, in the very beginning, it was
Yeah.
8, 11, 13.
Damn.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Oh yeah, I didn't know any better. Yeah.
I know, but think about that now. Like, imagine if you were starting right now and
Yeah.
you posted something and got 8 views.
I post stuff today that gets 200 views, and most of my videos are 1,000. So
I know,
it
I get
happens.
that too sometimes. That shit makes me so mad.
You know what's really funny? Again, I'm broken. I don't think about the video I did. I think about the next one I'm doing. Once I've recorded it and scheduled, it's out of my hands. I don't even think about it.
Got it. Okay. So, all right. So let's go back. You're sitting here posting.
Yeah, posting, doing
Why
videos.
were you doing that?
Oh, that's a great question. Not enough people ask. I decided that I wanted to create something that outlived me by 50 years.
Oh.
I personally believe you die twice.
Okay.
Once when your physical body goes, and then second when the last person talks about you.
Oh, that's scary. Yeah.
So my goal was to create something that outlived me by 50 years.
Got it.
That has been my North Star since day one, and it hasn't changed.
Interesting.
That when you have that clear of a North Star, it's very easy to do the next video.
Yeah. Okay. Why do you want people to talk about you?
Because I was nothing growing up.
Okay.
Right? I want to go from that little kid that was beat on all the time to somebody that changed generations.
Got it.
I think that'd be kind of cool.
Okay. So you're posting these videos once a day or twice a day, talking head videos, talking about buying a rental.
Yeah, buying a rental, some finance stuff, some econ stuff, just trying to find, like, I don't know about you, but I didn't find my voice for like the first year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Until the audience kind of told me what they wanted. And for me, that became two things. One, they liked the daily show, right?
Yeah.
I have over 100 people that show up 5 days a week at 7:30 a.m. to watch me live every day. They're almost the same people all the time to watch live and talk about the 5 most important things that you need to know today. And then 4,000 people watch it over the next 48 hours.
What?
Yeah, the daily financial news live 5 days a week.
Where do you post this at?
On one rental at a time. YouTube.
Is that YouTube?
Yeah,
Got
YouTube.
it.
Yeah. So it goes to YouTube. That's where I post it. And then I have somebody on the back end that sends it to a podcast and puts it on Twitter and all this other stuff. But yeah, I only put it on YouTube. And then the next thing that I did is I started to attract other like-minded millionaires.
Okay.
So I talked to 15 different millionaires every week.
Hold on. Let's go back though. So you're posting this thing, right? You got monetized, and then what happened?
So then I got monetized. Then the audience wants to talk to me and how to get started. And literally, so I don't know if when you start sharing, people want to, I'll buy you a coffee. I'll take you to lunch.
Yeah.
Right? That happens?
Yeah.
Eventually it becomes too much. So I basically documented what I would tell people at lunch into a course.
Okay.
How to get started one rental at a time. It started at $99. It's now $3.99 because there's more stuff in it. But then the course came. And
when was this?
The course came in 2020.
Okay, so 2 years and then...
Yeah, so
yeah.
Again, so I started in 2018. I get monetized in December of 2018. One rental at a time. The book comes out in November of 18. Courses don't happen until 2020. Then people start reaching out to me because my following got to a size where I get these affiliate links or referrals or whatever they're called. I write a second book called 15 Conversations with Millionaires, or Real Estate Millionaires. Then I do online events. Then I create a community. That was a shock. So I create this course. People ask questions. I create a private Facebook group because my vision for it was FAQs. That's what I thought I'd do. Go here for all the questions. That community has blown up into almost 2,000 people who are speaking the same language, networking across the country, getting deals done together, sharing referrals and stuff. It's like the happiest place on the internet, this private group. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then that community online led to what you saw here at your shop, and then the next day for 350 people at the Blind Center.
Was that your first event?
I did a test run in Fresno with about 200 folks because I ran a completely different format. All the events I've ever been to have been kind of PowerPoint based.
Yeah.
The speaker out. I wanted to try something different. So what I had everybody do was speakers got about 10 or 15 minutes to do one topic. And then people lined up and asked questions. Because you got to remember, in my audience, people see the same faces almost every week.
Yeah.
Right? There's like Sunday morning is the only time I sprinkle in new voices. So I figured the audience would want to ask them questions. Like some of these people, I love Lumberjack or I love Anna or whatever.
Yeah.
So I gave the audience a chance to interview their stars, their fans.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
Yeah.
So I love that new format.
Okay, so now let's break down your current schedule for social media. You
Sure.
said you interview...
So 7:30 a.m. Sunday through Thursday, I do a daily show. It lasts 12 to 18 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Right. So from 7:30 to 7:50, call it I'm done.
Yeah.
8 a.m. I'm interviewing my first millionaire. 9 a.m. my second millionaire. 10 a.m. my third millionaire.
Okay.
And they're all pre-scheduled. They all know each other, and they make about 75% of the schedule.
Okay.
And then I'm done.
Okay, so you do the 15-minute show, and then you do 3 millionaire interviews.
Yeah, they used to be. So what I used to do when I thought it was about, I guess, total views was every hour was 3 shows. So we would do one topic, 12 minutes, second topic, 10 minutes, third topic, 15 minutes, whatever it was. But now, because of coaching like Ryan and Sean and Graham Stephan, they're all telling me do longer formats. So now we do a 50-minute show, just one 50-minute show. So the duration's the same, but it's one video file versus 3.
Yeah.
So
Got it. And then you're doing that on YouTube. Are you posting on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok?
So my team will take the content. I have a 1099 that does thumbnails and creates 1-minute shorts and posts them on all those other things. I do a little posting on Instagram, but it's more like tagging and stuff like that.
Got it. So how many pieces of content are you posting a day with the shorts and everything? Do you know?
Oh yeah, I mean, like the 1 rental at a time brand on a day would probably be 20 pieces of content, maybe 25.
20 pieces of content a day?
A day.
That's a lot.
Okay.
That's a lot. How much does that cost?
So my team cost me about $3,000.
That's pretty cheap for 20 pieces of content.
Yeah, well, yeah, we got to remember 5 of those I'm doing. But
So what part of the content are you actually doing?
I only do those recordings.
You
And then
don't
I post them, yeah.
You post them.
Yeah, it's download a file, upload. It takes 2 minutes.
Okay. And then you come up with the title.
I pay for vidIQ to help with the titles, but yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Damn, that's crazy. That's still, even though it doesn't seem hard, it's still kind of hard work.
No.
It's discipline.
It's discipline. It's not hard work.
Yeah, it's not hard, but it's
Discipline.
easy to do.
Yeah. That's why I'm broken. I'm excited by tomorrow. Tomorrow's
Yeah.
Wednesday. I talked to Anna Kelly at 8. 9 o'clock, I got Adrian Hernandez.
Yeah.
10 o'clock, I got Bo Eckstein. 10:30, I got Matt, the mortgage guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm ready to rock already. Let's
Yeah.
go.
But like it's easy to do, but it's easier not to do. Like, it's
Yeah,
easy
I mean, if
be
you want to
like,
be a soft little bitch and create excuses, yeah, do whatever you want.
Woo! Yeah, because everyone knows you're supposed to do social media, but
A lot of people
only
create
1%
excuses.
of people on social media actually create content.
Yeah, and and only half of or whatever, 10% of those people create a second piece. A lot of people create the first, but
Yeah.
they don't create the 10th.
So that's what I'm saying. So why are you doing it? If you're already rich and like set, what's the point?
Did I not tell you my North Star a few minutes ago?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I mean, I'm serious when I
Isn't
say
there
that.
other ways to do that besides?
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
Again, as somebody who was nothing growing up,
Yeah.
to now change somebody's life and to change their kid's life, I
Yeah.
get notes every day.
Yeah.
This is 5 years in the making. This isn't like, don't call me lucky.
Yeah.
Don't you dare call me lucky.
Yeah.
5 days of the daily grind.
Yeah.
I get daily notes, some of them very long, how I've changed their lives and their kids' lives.
Dang.
It's very easy to show up the next day when you get that positive feedback loop.
Do you ever get hate?
Oh, I get hate all the time.
What kind of hate do you get?
Oh, you're a parasite. Your landlords are all the same.
Oh.
That's okay. I know where the block button is.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm starting to get hate.
Well, you've arrived when you get hate.
It's funny. Some people will be like, some guy, he was just like, dude, you asked the dumbest.
Hey, dude, get your own show.
Yeah,
you can ask your questions when you have your own show.
And I sent him a comment. I was like, well, what would you ask?
Yeah.
Or people are like, oh, like, I don't know. It's so
Yeah, so
funny.
my hardest thing, because again, back to some of you've already picked on my behavior, is I instantly go to fight.
Oh, really?
So
Yeah.
sometimes the feedback is a genuine question.
Yeah.
But if I read it and I'm so conditioned to want to fight,
Yeah.
sometimes I'm that bazooka,
Oh,
and I
okay.
and
I used to do that, but now sometimes I think it's funny.
it's far easier just to block.
Yeah, I just do you know who Jared Glant is?
I know the name.
Yeah, so I just had him on the podcast. That was the last podcast that came out. People were like, this guy seems so arrogant asking these questions to Jared, and I'm like, what did I ask?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't even understand what I did wrong, but so I get.
Here's a question for you: do you ever go back and watch or listen to your shows?
Yeah,
I've never listened to anything I've ever done.
I watch almost all of them.
I never watched a single one.
Yeah.
I'm worried about tomorrow, not yesterday.
Well, I'm petty, so I try to get the view. I try to get the view, and then I always
get the view and the watch time up.
I'll leave it playing.
Just for your playlist.
Yeah, 100.
Got 8 hours of watch time today.
Yeah, no, but like
That's hilarious.
I used to do that. I still do that sometimes. But
It's hilarious.
I sit there and I do watch myself
Mm.
because, so for example, when I first started interviewing people, I would say yeah a lot.
Oh
Like they'd be
yeah, the
talking, I'd be
control
like yeah,
worlds. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like they'll be talking and I hear myself say yeah like 100 times. I'm like, oh my God, it's so bad. And then like other times I could tell when I'm just being lazy or I'm tired.
Yeah.
I could see
You
it.
can
And
see
even
it.
my
Yeah.
editors are like, dude, you look tired. And I was like, okay. So now I try to be more conscious about like my energy levels.
Yep. I like
Um,
that. But I actually read.
yeah.
So I've never watched a video, but I do read every single comment.
Okay. And I'm starting to respond to all the
I
comments
respond
too.
to every comment.
Yeah. At first
Even
I
today.
didn't. Now I'm starting to
Yeah.
respond
So
to
that's where
people.
I get my feedback. Like in the beginning, your control words. People are going to tell you,
Yeah.
right? And they're going to tell you when you're off. So I don't watch the videos ever, but I do read every comment. And my audience is very loyal, and they'll tell me when I mess up.
Yeah. Like what made you want to decide to interview millionaires?
Accident. A lot of things that I've done in social media are a complete accident.
Yeah.
So the first one that came on is Anna Kelly. She goes by RAI Mom. She grew up in Section 8 housing. She's had a rough go of it. She posted on Facebook about a book that she was a part of, and I just said, hey, I'd love to interview you. Give you, she was a one chapter in a big book. I thought, hey, I'd love to interview about real estate. Do all this. We just clicked. And we have a similar, rough childhood. And I said, would you ever want to come back weekly? And without hesitation, she said yes. So Anna Kelly and I have been talking 8 a.m. Wednesday for 4.5 years.
Wow.
We've missed 12 times.
That's interesting.
And then once that worked, and the beauty about doing it this way is you have other voices. Like, I'll tell you this, if I had to just do talking head videos,
Yeah. I'd quit.
I'd quit.
Yeah, I know. I tried to do it before too. It's so hard.
No, but if you can talk to 15, and again, the beauty of the people I talk to, they're really doing it. So these aren't book smart people. I mean, some of them are educated, but what I mean is they're practically doing this. We like one of the things we did with Anna is we were there the day that she retired.
Oh, that's cool.
Right? And, we talked to Adrian Hernandez, who had 3 months in a row where he lost $100,000.
Oh, I know.
Right? We talk about it in the moment.
Dang.
So we get that raw, feeling. So, and again, these are my friends.
Yeah.
And you saw a lot of them came to the event. They were on stage here. They all, I didn't pay anybody. Everybody came on their own dime.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
What do you think? I guess like where do you see your career going in the next 5 years?
See, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I'm just going to show up tomorrow.
Okay.
I don't have, and that's always been a problem. I'm a great worker. I'm a horrible dreamer or whatever, visionary or whatever.
Yeah.
I know how to work. I know how to survive.
Yeah.
I don't have this, one rental at a time has produced over $1 million now as a brand. I have no idea what I'm doing, any of it. It's all been an accident, right? I probably should. I probably should have, when I think of Ryan Pineda and the conversations I've had with him, he's an extraordinary visionary.
I know. Yeah,
he sees it in Technicolor.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm like, it's not even black and white to me. I'm like, I don't even know what the hell I'm looking at.
Am I blind? I'm not looking.
I don't see anything.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to show up tomorrow and interview 3 people. I mean, that's.
You don't have any big goals?
No.
Really?
But back to your point, I'm trying to be happier. That's the big thing.
How are you going to fix that, you think?
Well, when I look back at 2023, this is an honest reflection, I consider it a failed year.
Why?
Because I didn't grow. I didn't feel uncomfortable. 2023 was the first year I didn't have, I call them activities that I tracked, right? So what I'm doing in 2024 is I set goals and activities. I talk about them on my channel every Sunday. And one of them is I want to do something I've never done before, which I'm going to do at 51, as I'm going to run a marathon.
Okay.
I bought the ticket to Las Vegas Marathon in November.
Yeah.
I've never run longer than 13.1 miles, so I'm going to double that. So I have to train for that.
Yeah.
So I put it out there about the registration, all that. So there's that. Then I'm highlighting what's going on in YouTube, what's going on book sales, what's going on courses, and I'm just showing everybody what's going on every week. So I think.
Do you think that's going to be enough for you in 2024?
I hope so. I mean, so far it's been 12 weeks, man. We're already 12 weeks into the year.
How do you think your first quarter went?
It was better than 2023. I wasn't really happy with it, but I feel better because I know now where I was weak. I could look at it. Yeah, I can look at it and go, hey, you're over rotated here. You said this was important, but the numbers don't back up what you're saying, smart ass.
Yeah.
Do something.
What about going to church?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I keep
Why don't
hearing
you
about
come to
this City
City
Light
Light?
thing,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
Why don't you come to City Light on Sunday?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe we can talk about that. What time is it? Is it?
10:15.
Yeah. See, is it the only one? Only time?
There's 8:45, 10:15, and then 11:45.
All right. So it would have
Oh, you
to
have
be
your
11.
show.
Yeah. So I have my show. I do shows 8 to 11. So, but I can
Okay.
do 11:45.
I'll go to 11:45. If you go, I'll go with you.
All right.
Yeah, I go to
We'll
10:15.
We'll talk about
But
it.
I think they'll be life-changing. Anything else you want to leave the listeners with?
I just want people to realize that if you own your stuff and you make your choices, you can do amazing things. Like I'm speaking at WealthCon coming up. I'm working on the presentation now.
There you go.
And it's going to be how to do legendary things.
Okay.
That's the thesis. I have 25 minutes, and my goal for the audience is to change their lives.
Okay.
That's my simple goal. I want to change everybody's life in 25 minutes. And I'm going to show them how to do legendary things. There's 3 steps.
Got it. Okay.
You got to show up to get the 3 steps.
Okay. Well, if people want to find you, where do they go? And also, guys, get this book. I actually listened to this book a few years ago.
Oh, nice.
It helped me. It definitely helped me understand, like, I learned about the 1% rule. I learned about how, like, literally to buy one rental at a time. Like, that's the goal. So it did help me for sure. So go check it out. I can put a link in the description for you guys to get it. If people want to find you, where do they go?
I've done very few things right in life, but one of them is everything I do is one rental at a time.
There you go. At least you're consistent. There
That's
you go.
right. I'm consistent.
Yeah. So go to one rental
At a time.
.com.
Website, Instagram, YouTube, books, everything is that.
Got it. All right, guys. This was the Wealthy Investor Podcast. We're out. Peace.